maybe on the other side it's a later. I still felt like there was a little bit of wind on the water. There's some hope there, and you know, Joe and all the poobah were up there in the front of the room behind this sort of velvet cord, and I was sitting in the back of the, you know, they gave me a little table right between the men's room and the kitchen there, and I'll tell you, it was, you know, we had the head of, not Planned Parenthood, but NAACP. A couple of brave groups came forward, and Jim Dean was one of the first guys to come down and sit at our table, so we had a merry group there. As I've kidded him before, I assume we sat down as a matter of principle, not because there was a free dinner, just sitting there begging. But, we did damn well. Pretty soon thereafter, there was a convention, and we got twice as many votes as we needed to get eligible to participate in the primary. You know, Joe, all of a sudden, he used my name for the first time about a month before the primary. Started blasting me for being a Republican light, not a real, you know, fighter for democratic principles. Which, then the primary was a great night for us. It was just so energizing, like Jim said. We had 1,000 people there, and that was our high tide in green grass. It was an extraordinary day for me and my family. We had a lot of new friends. You know, the Democratic Party sort of half embraced us afterwards. I'm still not quite sure what to make of everything. We had about 90 days to get myself reintroduced going forward, and there are 3 reasons I think that we got hit pretty hard in the general election. And to me, as a business person, I'll try and explain them to you, but I think they're the 3 worst words in politics. The first word was partisan. And Joe all of a sudden had gone from hitting me for being Republican-like to accusing me of being Leon Trotsky's son-in-law. It was incredible how quickly that could change. And he said, Ned Lamont is a partisan. Ned Lamont, you know, partisan, it was such a negative hit. It's as if you're not an American, you're not a citizen, you're not standing up for what you think is right, that you're compromising your values and compromising what you think is best for the country for some partisan party advantage. And I just think I take it as a bit of a personal attack. I mean, I think you should challenge people on the issues. If you disagree with them where they are, challenge them on that, not otherwise. So, you know, I urge you going forward, when you hear it read in the press or media, you know, he's bipartisan or he's partisan, think about where they stand on the issues and what that really means. The next word that we got hit on a little bit was the word experience. Ned Lamont lacks experience. Ned Lamont can't find his way to the congressional men's room. And I just think, you know, I think a couple of things. The idea that being in the U.S. Senate all your life, or being a career politician and bloviating at all these hearings back and forth, is the best and only type of experience you want in the halls of the U.S. Congress, I just think is dead wrong, and it's not what our founding fathers wanted. You know, I'm such a strong... DFA is a strong believer in campaign finance reform. I believe in public financing of elections. We were just talking about votevets.org with somebody here. It's a great organization. They think we ought to have more veterans involved in the halls of Congress. If we had more veterans, we'd be a little less likely to send our troops off to Iraq. More teachers. I'd like to see more representatives of labor, folks that have been in the unions, and folks who have maybe lost a job. I'd like to see more, selfishly speaking, more local business guys, small town business people involved in politics. I think you want a wider variety of people there. And I take strong offense to those who say experience. When you're talking about experience in our race or Barack or whatever it is, the best type of experience is a lifetime career in politics. I think that's just what you've done. It tends to pigeonhole you a little bit and makes you a little more distant from the folks you're supposed to be representing. And finally, the third word that I think distorts the political process is the word centrist and moderate or extreme. These are words that we just don't really have in the private sector. I mean, you look at an organization like General Motors, which has made one bad decision after another over the last 25 years. And you talk to the executive recruiters. Do you ever hear anybody says, you know what we need for General Motors? We're looking for a really good centrist or a strong moderate. No, you know what you're looking for? You're looking for somebody with a vision, a strategy, an idea, who can take this organization that has made so many bad turns and see if they can make the right choices going forward and see what they can do to save an organization like that. And I'd argue with you that we have a healthcare system in this country, and we have a transportation system in this country, we have environmental and energy policies that are a little bit like General Motors, just incredibly ossified, on the verge of breaking, and I think they need some entrepreneurship, and they need some people who are willing to challenge the status quo, thinking outside of the box. And there's nothing extremist about thinking outside of the box. I think just what this country needs. So would you, I'd say two things just as a break on what happened. You know, we lost 50 to 40, and the Republican got no votes at all, which is bad. I usually don't encourage people to vote Republican. He just got a few more votes, because really. But you know, people say, hey, look, Joe won because he got all the Republicans, and there were a few Democrats that he's able to keep. I'll tell you two other things that are really worth noting. I think they play into democracy for America. We crushed Joe in the 30, 35, and under age category. And he won, so he must have done something. He crushed me 60, 65, and over. And I think it's, and that age group is so much more likely to vote than young people. Anything you can do to get out there and tell those young people how much their vote counts, tell them why knocking on doors and calling their friends. I'll tell you, there was nothing better than being in a, Willimantic, Connecticut, and getting young people, high school students, calling up, and when they said, I know you've never heard of Ned Lamont, but I met him, he means a lot to me, I've asked my mom and dad to vote for him, and I hope you vote for him too. That is really powerful. And that's something, a great way for young people to really get involved. And you know, the older folks was a little tougher. If they said, I've known Joey, as in Senator Lieberman, for a long time, we knew we had a bit of an uphill climb in that household. And the other thing I'd tell you is,